Welcome everybody to Go Local Live. I'm Josh Fenton, CEO and co-founder. It has been a rock and roll day on Go Local Live. We're going to go over to Chad Pastorius. He's with RISLA. They're the ones that help Rhode Islanders find their way into college in a number of different ways, but one of them is through low interest loans. Chad, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Chad, let's talk about this. Listen, the cost of college education is a major factor for families. I think Brown University had a 5% increase in tuition up to nearly $92,000. Poor people have triplets, smart triplets, don't have smart triplets, have dumb triplets. Let's talk about how RISLA is helping families and especially with financing these bonds.
Sure, we are, RISLA offers some of the lowest interest rate loans in the country for parents and families. Rates this year start below 4%. And, RISLA for Rhode Island residents and people going to school here, we're able to use tax-exempt bonds to fund those loans, which, tax-exempt bonds typically carry an interest rate about 1.5% lower than other funding sources. And we pass that savings along to our borrowers.
And that's got your rates down to like 3.99, is that correct?
On our refinance loans, yes. On our in-school loans, they're down to 385, I believe. And new this year, the IRS issued some guidance last year that allows us to use tax-exempt bonds to fund education refinance loans. And in December, we issued 50 million in bonds for that purpose. And rates will start under 4%. We expect our average borrower who refinances with us to pay around 5%, depending on the loan term and other factors they select.
And are Rhode Islanders, are they taking advantage of it? Do they know about it? Do you have capacity?
We launched it, the program, right around the beginning of February, and we've had about 7 million in applications just through kind of a soft marketing push. The word's getting out, but we're here and hoping that more people will learn about it, take advantage of it, because market rates this year for people who borrowed in the last year or two, Parent Plus loan is over 9%, and many loans from other private lenders are 10, 12%, even higher.
So if you're at 9 or 10%, how much would you be saving if you refinance on a sort of standard loan package?
I mean, it's tough to say for a family that borrows $50,000 over the course of time, and they're paying 10%. Cutting that in half is going to save them $2,500 a year in interest.
Yeah, it's big.
Over $200 a month in monthly payments.
Talk a little bit about what's going on down in Washington. A lot of discussion about the cancellation of the U.S. Department of Education. How does that affect RISLA?
Well, it's hard to say, but we're really tuned into it. I think it has the potential to impact RISLA and schools in the state and around the country. If they cut back on the loan programs, the Parent Plus, the Graduate Plus program, that's going to have an impact. And RISLA is going to be there to try to fill that void as much as we can. And we're standing by and having conversations with schools about different scenarios. But we don't know for sure, but we're certainly tuned into it.
To go back to sort of refinancing and taking advantage of these lower rates, which are substantially lower, and I wish it had an applicability to buying a new house as well. That would make it even more popular. Talk about how do people engage with RISLA to be able to take advantage of these lower interest rates?
RISLA.com, RISLA.com, or 888-758-7562. It's right on our website. That's 888 plus loan is the number. But RISLA.com's got all the information they need, and we've got a call center here where people can call right in, and a live person answers the phone directly.
And it's not an AI-generated answer on the phone. It's like a real Rhode Islander, right?
You got it. Someone sitting in Warwick.
Excellent. What else should people know?
We're just trying to get the word out on this refinance program, and we're kind of eagerly, as you mentioned before, anticipating what changes come and how we're going to respond to them. Families who kids going to school next year should be tuned into that as well. And as always, this time of year, people should be filling out their FAFSA form. Things seem to be going smoothly in regards to the FAFSA this year, but still important for families to fill those out to be eligible for federal and state aid.
Yeah, listen, colleges are expecting a record number of freshmen applying to college this year. It'll be the biggest class ever going to U.S. colleges and universities. Is that going to have any impact on RISLA?
I mean, it could if it in Rhode Island, the more people going to school here, the more Rhode Islanders going out of state could have a an impact in demand for our loan programs. But we're prepared for that.
Great. You get the last word. What should people know?
Visit RISLA.com for low-cost loans and to learn about our, RISLA refi, our RI Advantage refi program. It's great for parents who borrowed the plus, or students who are still in school who have higher interest rate loans can refinance while they're in school and reduce their interest costs, prior to graduation as well.
Chad, listen, really appreciate it. For everybody else, stay tuned. There is a lot going on. Updates throughout the day on GoLocal. A lot going on in college basketball. The 4 teams, local teams, are out of the tournament, but they are definitely in the transfer portal, and we've got a lot of coverage on that. Take a look at it. 2 new pieces of news out of Newport, Rhode Island, and Frank Caprio, speaking of colleges, will be the commencement speaker at Providence College this year. Stay tuned for much, much more, and enjoy the great weather. Thanks, everybody.